Hello everybody, I hope you're all doing well. Have a look at this orchid. The one in the actual insert photo is an example of how droopy my orchid was. It's not a photo of my orchid, but this is exactly how this orchid looked. And the reason was there was an infective leaf right in the middle, the newest leaf, right there, right in the middle. It was completely soggy and weeping, and it was infected, so I cut it off. And after cutting it off, the blooms actually recovered. I mean, it seems like a miracle. Another leaf actually came off as well. I actually pulled it off. It was yellowing, and it was one of the bottommost leaves, and it had an infection. Can you see? It's all dark and infected, and it was right down there, right in the bottom. And I took that off, and then I put some hydrogen peroxide and I put some alcohol, and right there, that's where it came off. It had an infection there. So basically there were two leaves, one right at the top, the newest, and one at the bottom. I took both of these leaves off, and then I put some cinnamon as well while it was still damp with the hydrogen peroxide. That's the cinnamon, just normal household cinnamon. And I put it on with the Q-tip. Just wetted the Q-tip a little bit. You can either wet it with hydrogen peroxide or some water. And just put the granules on right there, right where you took the leaf off, because obviously there's going to be remnants of the disease still there. So I did that, and then I actually gave the orchid some water, because there might be some granules of cinnamon fallen on the roots, and you don't want any cinnamon on healthy roots. So once I put it on, dabbed it on in the infected areas there, obviously you can see a few little granules of cinnamon dropping on the roots, so that needs to be taken off. And the way I did it, I just poured some water down, and the roots were healthy, the leaves were not healthy, and the blooms were droopy. So basically I wanted to save it, so there I am pouring the water in. And you have to be very careful how much water you put and where you put the water. You don't want any water getting in to the middle of the orchid. Nothing down in the crown, nothing in between the leaves, because if you get any water here, see in these folds where the leaves are folding over the crown, or even in the middle, that water, if you don't actually use a tissue or something to blot it out and dry it, then it's going to cause disease. And that's where, you know, the fungus or any bacterial infection can fester there. So really have to be careful how you water your orchids. Just keep everything dry around the crown. The crown is the area just above the roots. Now look at the orchid flowers now. They absolutely look perfect again. I mean, perfect as they can be after recovering from such a trauma. They have a little bit of water damage, but look at them. They all perked up. I mean, they were as droopy as in the photos I showed you. And it's almost like a miracle. I mean, I've never really heard of orchids recovering. I mean, orchid blooms, once they start drooping, that's it for them. But this orchid actually was suffering at the leaf level. And once that was treated, see how the blooms actually responded. And it's just amazing. And this was 4 months ago. So I'm going to give you an update of how the orchid is right now. And the 4-month update is coming up. And this is actually how it was before. Now, obviously, I've cut the blooms off because they faded about a month ago. They lasted a long time. They lasted about 2-3 months. And I've got 2 new leaves from where that infected leaf was. There's the infected leaf right in the middle there, the newest one I cut off. It's calloused over. And since then, I've got 2 new healthy leaves. So that's just amazing, and I'm so happy about that. So thank you all for watching, and like I said, you can all make your orchids recover, so don't give up on them, and they'll reward you.